Welcome to High Infidelity, the best cheating videos on YouTube. If you enjoy this content, remember to subscribe and turn on notifications. Now let's get into the video.
5 days since I served my SDBXW, 30 female of 7 years. Now everyone is piling on me to talk to her. Part 4. Update 7. The sleeping medicine has worn off, and I've been wondering for a few hours. It's rather tranquil here. As far as I can tell, no one is awake save the watch nurse down the hall. I apologize for not responding to everyone. I have read everything and appreciate all of your help and suggestions. Actually, I'm feeling quite depressed and down, and writing this out helps me think things through. Some people have suggested that this is some kind of exorcism. I wish. I would give almost everything to have this not be my life. I was diagnosed with hypertension, which expressed itself in the nosebleed and red eye yesterday. I was given some tablets that I will have to take on a regular basis for the foreseeable future. I decided to start communicating with my wife practically as soon as I woke up. I'm obviously not ready to meet her, yet I felt compelled to visit her yesterday. I had planned what I would do, but something kept me from making the necessary judgments. I needed to know what I thought of her. I'm ashamed of how much I still adore her, and I really want to despise her for what she did. Maybe I'm becoming more unsure about everything. But the hate just does not exist. It should be there, but it isn't. I'm not sure why it's not there. It should be, since she deceived me and harmed me more than anybody else ever has. Still, I adore her. Why? I understood that not communicating with her is both ineffective and stupid. So I unblocked her since she was bombarding me with text and phone calls. I can't possibly go through them all. There must be hundreds. I texted her and asked if we might attempt to communicate through SMS and WhatsApp. Surprisingly, she reacted immediately. I didn't expect to hear back until at least the next morning. I told her that we needed to function for our children and that we needed to concentrate on that for the time being. She refused to comply, stating that she wanted us to discuss everything. I've urged her not to give me walls of text, but rather to bring up one topic at a time and discuss it before going on to the next. In answer, she provided me a lengthy list of themes, 136 in all. The vast majority of them are things we might do or read to attempt to discover methods to reconcile. I instructed her to put all reconciliation matters on hold for the time being. I get that this is very fresh for both of us. I can't speak for her, but I'm not ready to digest this in any meaningful way just now. She claims she hasn't gotten enough sleep. She also claims that everything is her fault and that she has no good justification or rationale for what she did. She insists it's the first time she's ever done anything like this. I'm not sure I believe it, or maybe I don't want to believe it. Is it possible that I'm clinging to my rage? To enmity? I'm not sure what I'm talking about anymore. She believes the affair was like being drugged, and she couldn't stop herself. I'm not sure. Is this even correct? Is this even conceivable? She informed me that she had been let off from her job and that she had not heard from Frank since the hotel. She also claims to have notified relatives and friends about what she has done. So evidently everyone is aware. Nobody has reached out to me, which makes me quite sad for some reason. I made her vow she would never attempt to terminate things forever again. She promised to speak to me if I simply spoke to her. That irritated me so severely that it seemed like extortion, speak to me or else. But maybe she's just being honest. Is it conceivable that I'm reading things from the worst possible perspective? I suppose I don't understand myself, or maybe I never did. But at the very least, we're communicating. Today, I consider it a victory. I've chosen to return home and have the kids return home if my father can remain with us. If he can't, I'll stay with the kids for a few more days. I'm finding that I'm doubting myself a lot more than I used to. It's as if I can't make up my mind about anything anymore. I received a message from Frank's wife saying she has returned home, so I will go visit her later. I am looking forward to speaking with her. Frank is still gone. No one knows where he is. Or, at the very least, no one is prepared to tell them where he is if they know. This morning, I looked in the mirror and swallowed some harsh pills, and I came to certain conclusions. It is not my position nor my advantage to want to punish my wife. I need to step back and let things play out. Trying to push things, as I have been doing, only serves to harm everyone. I'll take a step back and attempt to find some WW to address some of my questions. I'll attempt to keep myself and the situation as cool as possible. I need to find a technique to cleanse my mind. I'm genuinely curious as to how someone can make such decisions. I'll attempt to be patient and allow my body work through these feelings and obstacles on its own timetable. Before yesterday's meeting, I had persuaded myself that if I simply finished this or that, the pain would go away immediately. What I really need to do, what we all need to do, is properly lament this. Our lives as we knew them are ended, and we will never be able to relive them. I'm not sure what the new future will be like, but it's a little frightening. That is something I must handle. After yesterday, I realized there is no easy cure here and that I'm not in control. But I can't just shove it and be done with it. As many of you have told me, I need to mentally prepare for the long haul. I'm going to stop posting on Reddit for a bit, at least for a week. I'll continue to read comments and ask questions, but I believe I need some time away. There are too many opposing viewpoints, and I can't even manage my own emotions right now. On each remark I read, I shifted from one point of view to the next. It's been really therapeutic for me to chat to all of you. Thank you for taking the time to hear what I had to say. Many of you said that my wife is in suffering, and I need to consider that. Someone said, meet her pain and accept it, which really struck a chord with me, and I will endeavor to do so. Perhaps the most significant lesson I've made is that I need to find a way to forgive. Harboring all of this resentment and pain isn't going to help anything. It doesn't mean I'll forget, but it does mean I'll have to find a way to forgive. Update No 8. It's been a fascinating week. This is a lengthy one, but I've received so much assistance from this site that I feel forced to discuss the present situation and what I've learned so far. I've returned to my home with the kids. Sue also returned to the inn a few days ago. During the day, Mom and Dad are with us and assist us much. Children are doing okay in spite of everything, yet they are understandably unsettled. Their parents effectively vanished for 2 weeks while they were parked with their grandparents. I wish I could have handled the first 2 weeks better for the sake of my children, but I couldn't. I was completely lost, and it has been quite difficult for me to get out of the hole I had dug for myself. Returning to the children has helped me rediscover a lot of strength I didn't realize I have. I'm doing okay, and I'm delighted to report that I've regained control of my faculties. I still have a lot of grief and trauma to deal through, but I'm doing very well. I am more confident in myself, and I'm optimistic about the future. By nature, I am methodical and detail-oriented. It aids me in keeping a comprehensive notebook. Actually, it's for both of us right now, Sue and myself. It enables us to delve deeply into a single subject. Every day, we have a dedicated 1-hour period when we chat. During this time, we endeavor to analyze and prioritize the problems that need to be addressed. We also put things on hold for later if we can't come up with a decent answer or resolution right now. This 1 hour gives us enough energy to spend with the kids watching TV, doing homework, and so on. When we're being brutally honest, 1 hour is fairly taxing. Therefore, we restrict it for the time being. It enables us to disconnect at the end of the session, and we created some wonderful new memories as a group. This has been quite beneficial to us. If you're working with a partner in a challenging circumstance like this, I strongly suggest this. It automatically generates a strategy and enables us to completely work through challenges with determination and a little emotional distance. If we don't complete, we'll simply pick up where we left off the following day. I've also spoken a lot with the kids, and we've gone to IC for each of them, as well as family therapy with myself and the boys. Sue was also present at the final session. Sue was having difficulty with the session. She's wallowing in shame and remorse right now, so I suppose we'll have to wait. Sue has been released from the hospital and is now better off living at home with the rest of us. Before you all fall on me for evicting the jobless mother of my children in the midst of a pandemic, I consider it this way. When my children are grown and ask me about this time period, I want to be able to be proud of the majority of my conduct. It's also incredibly useful for me to think about things in the long run. It allows me to look beyond the overwhelming immediate discomfort and create goals for myself. Sue attends treatment on a regular basis and has been diagnosed with minor PTSD. Her therapist believes she is no longer in danger of self-harm. The kids have liked having her around, albeit they do miss their mother. She seems to be steady, and I believe that sticking together is the best decision for her and everyone at this time. Let's get one of the most important concerns out of the way. I've chosen to divorce. The deciding argument sprang from a PM conversation I had with a self-proclaimed lesbian feminist. The conversation contained a lot of rubbish about patriarchy and historical oppression, but she made some valid points about my wife being an adult woman with agency. She thanked me much for letting my wife to make her own decisions. Even if such decisions were irrational, I genuinely regret not approaching Sue more forcefully sooner, but I wasn't in a good mental state at the time, and I didn't always make the greatest decisions. In retrospect, it's simple to see a better way. The conversation with the feminist was at times perplexing, but the final point was, if this were a married couple with 2 male partners, would anybody doubt the partner's agency? Which came first, the WS or the BS? The answer is no. Therefore, I'll treat my wife as if she has the ability to make her own decisions and bear the repercussions of those choices. I've accepted that my wife made the decision to do this since it made perfect sense to her and was what she wanted at the time. It was a bad decision, but people make dumb decisions all the time. They drink and drive, they perform stupid actions, and so on. If they are discovered, the repercussions of their poor decisions will be severe. I've examined myself thoroughly, and this is what I've concluded. I can't reconcile Sue's conduct with the lady I thought she was. The harsh reality is that I don't know this lady who used to be my wife. I simply don't trust her anymore, and I can't be married to someone I don't know or trust. Sue is devastated, but she accepts and understands my choice. In the divorce, she has given me everything. All of our assets, including our home and automobiles, are in full possession. I've stated no emphatically. We will distribute assets properly, and she will automatically reclaim 50/50 custody whenever she is comfortable with it and her doctor approves of it. She also asked that I locate a lady and have an affair with her, which I would not do. I'm not interested in starting another relationship. I believe I already have too much on my plate. Second, I believe Sue wants this because she feels it will relieve her guilt. I, on the other hand, don't see how adding additional pain and uncertainty to the mix can help. Also, I don't have the authority to drag an innocent third party into this agonizing situation. She has also promised total openness and that she would not do anything without my approval. But I'm not interested in being her warden or jailer. If she wants to show me anything, that's great, but I won't be watching her as I have in the past. She is now in charge of establishing trust. I don't want to despise Sue, but I am frustrated with her. But I know I have to find a way to go over it. I want our children to know who their mother is, whatever the end consequence of this. Until recently, we had a nice life. I am thankful for the time we spent together, and we both adore our children. My wife and I began conversing internet the day after our hospital encounter. We thought that having Sue write a letter for me would be the best way to start the conversation. Everything she has done while we have been together would be included in the letter. Everything about her buddies, including how it all began with Frank. Everything until the day she sat down to write it all down. Her desires, anxieties, needs, urges, and so forth. Oh, and before I forget, we discovered that Frank had fled the country. He has returned the money, or at least the part that belonged to his wife. So Frank's wife is well. Frank's mother, it turns out, hired a private investigator to seek him down on Monday. She was concerned about him and enraged. His mother refuses to tell us where he is, just that he is in another country. Frank has consented to a no-fault divorce and will not be returning anytime soon. According to what I've heard, one of the deceived spouses allegedly threatened Frank on Saturday, but I'm not sure. At this point, it's just hearsay and gossip. Sue's letter demonstrates the process Sue went through in order to explain having an affair to herself. I was startled to find that it began more than 3 years ago. It was quite difficult for me to read, yet it seemed genuine, very genuine. A lady from their school buddy group, let's call her Betty, who had moved away when she was 18, had returned to the neighborhood with her family around 4 years ago. Betty began an affair with a high school ex. She'd go on and on about how wonderful everything was. They'd slip away to spa hotels, blah blah. Nobody was wounded since they didn't know what they were doing, blah blah. She deserves it, blah 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 blah. How her adultery made her a better wife, blah blah. Basically every justification for cheating in the book. In addition to Sue, I've discovered that 4 other women in the group have cheated on their husbands. 2 of them had brief relationships that ended after the first physical encounter. Betty has a number of long-term relationships throughout the years. Another lady had a 7-month romance that ended recently. When she began her affair 7 months ago, she joined Betty in promoting the advantages of affairs. According to what I've heard, 3 spouses have already chosen to file for divorce. I've been attempting to decipher my wife's behavior to see if there's anything I'm missing. It's been difficult to accept, but her actions about the affair seem to have little to do with me. She has described how life got monotonous, and the romance blossomed into a dream that increased with time. A form of imaginary getaway from day-to-day living. When Frank expressed an interest in her, she became entangled in it. The adrenaline, the thrill. She never thought about the implications or how it would affect me or her family. It was never her desire to do so. She became obsessed with obtaining her fix, and it became more and more dangerous to get it. Her cheating pals encouraged her, while her faithful friends objected but did not insist. I've spent a lot of time talking to Suze and her therapist. I've realized that I need to think about this in a new way. It's not as simple as black and white. There are several more elements and subtleties to consider, in addition to my own view, pain, and ego. My stress levels have decreased significantly since I learned that I need to completely meditate on this before making any decisions. Several therapists have described it to me in the context of this sort of obsessive, addictive behaviors mental framework. I've also spoken with a lot of WW and BS. Thank you so much for answering all my stupid questions. I'm getting a better sense of it now. This is not an explanation for Sue's conduct, but it does make them more reasonable in certain respects. It's clear to me. However, this does not imply that I have forgiven or forgotten it. Everyone knows that smoking is harmful and that drinking is terrible. Exercising on a regular basis is essential, as is avoiding bad food. People are aware of these behaviors, yet they continue to do them throughout their lives. Consider the lung cancer unit, where dying patients continue to smoke outdoors. I appreciate it. Sue's brain has a similar response to this situation. An affair became into a dream, and the thrill of it turned into an addiction. As if you were an adrenaline addict. Frank had just begun giving her oral after some initial touching/kissing at the motel, and they were only a few minutes into it when I broke reality into her dream world. Sue has said that she intends to go all the way. When she realized what had happened, she felt anxious to correct it. It was all she could think about. It helps to understand her actions after D-Day. She couldn't cope with it when she saw the Reddit threads and lost hope that she could change anything. She attempted to put a stop to it. He has stated that if the shoe were on the other foot, she would abandon me. So at least I know she's being truthful. I sincerely doubt she'd do it again. She was permanently disfigured. She now has no idea why she did this to herself. Now I view Sue in the same way that I would see someone who had a gambling problem. I don't like such vulnerability, but I think people may improve. I'm no goody two-shoes and have dabbled with narcotics in the past. I came out of it when someone gave me a chance, so I'll see if Sue can work through her troubles with my assistance. To be honest, I believe the shock of that was enough to rid her of that habit. That gets me to the present. I'll give Sue a chance to re-earn my respect, and then maybe, just maybe, my trust. If she regains my respect and trust, I may reconsider dating her again. Sue seems to be quite driven as a result of this, and she is definitely putting in a lot of work. I've made it plain that it's her responsibility to do so, and she'll have to prove it to me. She has already summoned one of the deceived spouses and told him everything. Then she asked his wife to come over, her previous companion, and informed her that she had told her husband everything. There was a lot of shouting, but she stayed steady and confirmed her involvement in it. That required bravery. She made the correct decision. She has also apologized and spoken with Frank's wife. They really hit it off, laughing about Frank's flaws over numerous glasses of wine. Everything seemed unusual to me, even bizarre. I listened from the corridor. To put it mildly, Frank was not depicted in a favorable light. Is this something that only women do? Bonding over tearing into a regular ex? Sue has asked the other deceased spouses whether they would want the same information. Betty came to our house yesterday, pleading with Sue not to tell her husband. Betty was certain that unless Sue agreed to a mild version, her husband would leave her. Betty's husband is coming over for supper this evening, so my wife declined her invitation. Sue assured him that he would get the complete, unfiltered truth. Sue and Betty are clearly no longer pals. She has been inundated with messages from the other cheats, all of which she has rejected. The faithful women have asked Sue to meet with their husbands to reassure them, and she has consented. I suppose she now knows who her pals are. I really created a large spreadsheet with all of my alternatives and choices. It's a huge mess, weighing the advantages and downsides. What is best for the children? What are the advantages of this and that? What are the disadvantages of this and that? For example, there is no assurance that a new girlfriend will be any more loyal, that I will find a new spouse who is suitable with my children, and so on. Overall, I've concluded that my best option for the time being, particularly for the sake of the children, is to take my time and see whether Sue makes any improvement. I need to see if she can get to the point where we can attempt to start again. The one we have is no longer alive. Nonetheless, it was a terrific one on so many levels. Could we have it again? Perhaps it will fail. Who can say? I am not in a hurry, and if I believe it is pointless, I will act. Until then, we may practice co-parenting and find methods to be civil. By any stretch of the imagination, I am not a perfect spouse or human being. I, like everyone else, have weaknesses. I'll keep this in mind anytime I find myself in a situation where I have to assess Sue in the future. So this is most likely my last action here. Maybe I'll do another update in a year or two. I cannot express how grateful I am to the Reddit community. Thank you so much for all of your assistance. I realize that in the end, it is up to me to make the decision, and I am grateful that you all took the time to help me contemplate more extensively. Thank you for your time.